Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans, welcome back to the August edition of MWF Extra. I'm Dan Marotti. We are now joined by one half of the former MWF Tag Team Champions, Beau Douglas.
Well, once again, Dan, thank you for having me on MWF Extra. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
Well, we just want to make note that the Jackal is on his trip to Russia right now, scouting new talent. However, we're unable to reach him via cell phone, so we're just going to go the rest of the way with you. Everyone's talking about the sabotage that was committed by Johnny Fabulous when you and Todd Hansen signed Johnny Fabulous as your manager for the MWF Zero Tolerance event back on May 20th, which aired on the June MWF Ultra, and he screwed the two of you out of the MWF Tag Team Championship. Do you feel, in hindsight, that you should have known this leading up to the event?
Well, I will say me and Todd were very skeptical the whole time Johnny Fabulous was trying and trying and trying. We had a feeling that there was something else on his mind, but you know, in the best interest of our tag team titles and for the tag team, we realized, you know, in that 3-on-1 four-way dance tag team schmoz that was on the show, you know, we could have used that extra help out at ringside. And you know, it looked like it was working and it was worthwhile, you know, until after the match, of course.
And go through what went through your mind when you lost the MWF Tag Team Championship to the Canadian superstars Jay Buster and Dave Cole with the help of Johnny Fabulous, a man you trusted to have your back.
Well, I will say that we definitely came to terms with the fact that having Jay Fab out there would be a good thing for us and the tag team titles, of course. You know, we came out victorious over three of the toughest teams that the MWF has seen in a long time. But then when the Canadian superstars just jumped us from behind while we were celebrating, I mean, I don't know what to think. I think I'm still in shock from that.
Well, it's been a few months. I think it's time to get out of shock and come back to reality.
Well, after holding the MWF title and being the first MWF Tag Team Champion and holding it for over 9 months with Todd Hansen, you know, it's a tough thing to come over, like any relationship.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this now. Maybe it's the Jackal calling from Russia.
It could be Mr. Hansen, too, checking in on us. I can take that later.
All right, good. Back to the interview at hand now, Mr. Cell Phone. After the match, you found out that when Johnny Fabulous signed the contract with you guys, he put in a stipulation that you would not receive a championship opportunity, a rematch to regain the titles that you lost, which is normal procedure in the annals of professional wrestling. How did you and Todd Hansen react to the fact that you wouldn't even have a chance to regain your gold?
Well, I will tell you this. You know, dealing with Johnny Fabulous month after month after month, listening to his babble, listen to him bicker about contract this, you need a manager for this. You know, I figured he was, you know, an intelligent individual. And I mean, it does prove that he was, because what he did was a smart thing, because the superstars never would have been able to beat us, you know, on one-on-one terms, as you've seen in the past. But, you know, so I figured, okay, it's professional, it's a contract, we'll sign it. Let's see how it comes out. We were victorious, and hey, we thought we were done. We thought we had our match for the night. We thought we were ready to go home. And then, bam, from behind, the superstars come out. The light had shined on us, and it did show us that Johnny Fabulous was a very devious man. You can compare him to some people like in history, but we won't get into any names.
I can just imagine who those names might be. So will you and Todd Hansen find yourselves unable to challenge for the championship, I guess until there are new tag team champions once the Canadian superstars lose those titles? You were put into singles competition. Todd Hansen was victorious over DC Dillinger on the July Ultra, and you were victorious in singles competition with the living legend Bull Montana in your corner. What led you to have Bull Montana watching your back in July?
Well, the legendary Beau Montana has been there for years, in almost the entire career of Beau Douglas. He has guided me on many, many ventures. I mean, his mind, he he knows wrestling better than half the people out there in New England independent wrestling right now.
Absolutely.
So what I figure is, hey, I could use a little bit of insight. Beau, come on down. Watch my back from JFab. Let's see what can happen. Beau can handle his own.
Well, let's take a look back at what happened on the July Ultra. Sneak attack from behind. Johnny Fabulous knocks out Beau Montana with that loaded briefcase, and the Canadian superstars attack you, and then they proceed.
Of course, 2-on-1 attack me.
And they proceed to take out a pair of barber's shears to cut what they call your groveler's locks.
That they did, and hence why I'm wearing a hat right now. I mean, this isn't Beau Douglas. This is what they made Beau Douglas into. And you did talk earlier about the tag team titles, and I talk about how happy I am to be the first ever MWF tag team champions. But right now, there's one thing on my mind. Unfortunately, we don't have our rematch for these tag team titles, but Jay Buster and Dave, is it Hole or Cole?
No, either or, I guess.
Okay, well, Jay Buster and Dave's Hole. Beau Douglas has not forgotten about you. And Beau Montana has reminded me of many and many things he told people in the past. So you two better watch your backs, as well as Johnny Fabulous.
Well, as that attack went down, Todd Hansen had already left the venue to head back to the hotel as he was suffering from a bad back, turned into a bruised tailbone. You were lucky enough, I suppose you could say, to have someone save you, and it turned into ECW superstar Al Snow. How did it feel to have Al Snow watching your back?
Unbelievable. I will tell you, Bull's on the ground outside the ring. I'm getting hit in the head with a belt. People are buzzing my head. I wake up, I get hit in the head in the belt with a belt again. I mean, there was no one else I could turn to. I thought I was done for. There was no one else in that locker room at that point in time that I had enough of a relationship to come out and help save me against 3 men. So for when I woke up and saw Al Snow in that ring with Head, that turned back into 3-on-1. In my mind, of course.
Well, let me ask you this, a very interesting question. Due to legal contracts that have been signed, you cannot team with Todd Hansen to challenge for those tag team championships. Have you considered teaming with another partner to go after the MWF tag team championships? Perhaps Beau Montana? Perhaps Al Snow?
Well, they always say the best things are left to be seen and not told. So I think everyone at home is just going to have to keep tuning in to MWF television to find out.
It's a very interesting question. Did Al Snow have any interesting advice for you? He's well known from his days on Tough Enough on MTV through WWE's programming. Did he have any advice for you on the July program?
Plenty of advice, but I'd rather consider that personal advice. You can teach people a million things out there, but you don't always teach them everything you know.
Well, indeed. I know, Beau Douglas, you're one of the most popular superstars here in the MWF.
Well, thank you for saying that. You're flattering me a little bit too much. But
some of the fans here in the MWF, especially on MySpace, Katie and Laurie, you are their favorite superstar. Beau Douglas, how do you feel when you're personally attacked by the Canadians and by Johnny Fabulous, when they call you a groveler or even a wigger?
It's words. It's words. I mean, words can't really hurt a person, in my opinion, of course.
Words can't hurt a person. That's what interviews are for. What is next for Beau Douglas here in the MWF? Is it singles competition, or are you going to attack those Canadians?
I'll tell you one thing. The Canadians, they haven't heard the last from Beau Douglas. And whether or not I decide to get a tag team partner, there'll be plenty more on their plate. But now for singles competition, I think that remains to be seen. My main focus right now is J-Fab and his little stable of Gay Buster and Dave's Hole.
So it's revenge rather than gold?
At this point, yeah, I definitely have to say that. They didn't just take my hair, they took my manhood.
No, I won't even go there. Wrestling fans, we're just about out of time on this month's edition of MWF Extra. Next month, the big 5-year anniversary for the Millennium Wrestling Federation. We thank you, Beau Douglas, for joining us, especially with that glittering hat. I'm Dan Marotti. We'll see you next time. Good night.